After 20 years of being in the industry, I was at the beginning of the soft wash method coming into Canada, starting in BC and recently expanding into Ontario. Now, through the years, people all over Canada were reaching out to me for training and building them systems. As the demand was increasing each year, I knew what needed to be done. Doing my homework, it was obvious which company I wanted to bring to Canada. This company is the whole package, with decades of experience of being in the field, and their pumps are unmatched. Anyone who is not living under a rock already knows who I'm talking about. So please welcome Southeast Soft Wash.
What's going on, guys?
Hello, Ty.
Good to see you, man.
You too. So we have a few people here joined. Could be in Ontario and other places in Canada. So welcome them.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, that's awesome.
Excellent, Ty. So if you can start with us, give me a little bit of history of Southeast Soft Wash.
Yeah, so some Southeast Soft Wash history here. So, it goes back a lot longer than just Cody and Dusty, building equipment in the backyard. Cody's dad actually used to work for a shingle manufacturing company and was tasked to figure out how in the heck do you clean these things? How do you keep them looking good? Because they were noticing, especially here in our climate where we're at, you get, if you're in the shade, I mean, you can get maybe 5 years out of one and they're just growth and everything. They start looking like garbage. And with the typical asphalt shingle roof having a 30-year warranty, it doesn't look good. So the task was let's figure out how to keep these things clean. What kind of maintenance do you need to kind of do on them to expect that 30-year warranty on them? So Cody's dad got out, started, figuring out some things, how to clean them, what was safe, what wasn't. And so fast forward that a little bit, on to when Cody was, younger and coming up. He's been out washing roofs with his dad since he was like 13 or 14 years old. So there's no telling how many roofs he's actually cleaned in the time. But, it was just kind of hey, my dad does this on the side, I'm going to do it, kind of a high school part-time job deal. And, he went on into the corporate world, started doing some things, working for other companies. And he always kind of reverted to this as, kind of a side thing that he did. And a little later on, he met up with one of his buddies, Dustin, and which is one of our part owners here. And they were like, well, look, man, let's just start doing this. I mean, they were making good money on the side doing it. Why not just start it? So, Southeast Soft Wash really started in the trenches of, washing houses, washing roofs. And some of the funny stories that they've told about, some equipment failures and just the aggravation of having dependable equipment, while they're out in the middle of these jobs and running a corrosive through them and things of that nature. So they built their own piece of equipment. And they, of course, the first one is always, a gimmick. It's just kind of like, hey, let's throw this thing together, see what works, see what don't. And they kind of fixed it, a little bit here, a little bit there. And from what I'm aware of, they built a pretty nice little piece of equipment, and they had it in a bed of an old Toyota Tundra, and they made a killing one year. And Cody had always kind of had like a little YouTube channel. He'd always just kind of post some, things that he was enjoying doing, just personal stuff. But he got to posting some stuff on cleaning and how to take care of driveways, how to clean a roof, how to clean a house. And it just kind of, we live in nowhere, Alabama. Like our population is very, very small. And I guess the right person saw it, shared it. This person shared it. This person saw it. Next thing you know, they're being contacted for, hey, what kind of equipment are you using? And they're like, well, we built our own, a couple of years in the, out in the fields, kind of figured out what worked, what didn't work, what we liked. And next thing you know, they're having, guys come to his house and pick up equipment that they're building in the backyard on 55-gallon drums. So from there, they rented a little building, started building inside a little warehouse. And then from there, they moved into the building that we're in today. And
Okay.
now we kind of house everything from, building equipment from the ground up. We have training, and of course, the valves and pumps, and now we
Yeah.
manufacture our own products. So it's
Yeah.
been a long time coming, a lot of hours in the field, but
Right.
these guys, I mean, they lived it. So
Yeah. So for those of you who might not know, correct me if I'm wrong, but you guys, Southeast Soft Wash, are the #1 manufacturer in the world, as in you have sold the most skids and systems. Is that correct?
I mean, I don't know of anybody else that puts out the numbers we do. I mean, it's not like
Yeah.
there's an official system that's keeping tally of each company that puts them out.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're on up in the we're in the thousands of range.
Right. So you have pumps, you have hose reels, you have manifolds, blending manifolds. You guys are not the only manufacturers out there, but what makes your product so good?
Well, I mean, like I said, it's tried and true. The first time you build something, you learn from it. Here, I mean, it's like the first time you build something, you try to plan, you lay it out, you design it, and you put it together. And in personal experience, you learn more from that second and third that you build than you do from the first one, or from the premeditated, all right, I want to do this and I want to do that. How do we actually fit these together? And it's come with just repetitiveness, and seeing guys that experience things that we didn't necessarily experience. They're coming back to us and like, hey, this works great. Is there any way we can do this? Can we make this tweak because this would benefit us? And so you try to take this big, snowball of, this and that from different people in different parts of the world, and you try to build off of that. So it's just, our client base is huge, and it's not just here, in Roanoke, Alabama, where we're located. I mean, it's literally across the world at this point. And, we've been able to, sure, we've kind of looked back and like, man, that wasn't the best thing we could have done. And we've grown from that, and we learned from it, and we've corrected some mistakes, and, to where we are now. And, we looking at our equipment the other day, I was loading up a piece of machinery for a guy, and I was just looking at the detail because I'm not personally building anymore. I used to. So now I'm kind of more up here in the front offices, and I was just looking at the details of how the wiring was ran, how the plumbing was plumbed, and just the finer things that really the mechanics notice that a lot of the users may or may not pick up on. And I was just like, man, we've come a long way, So there's just a lot of repetitiveness, and you find what works. So
Awesome. Yeah. So I believe Cody, he has a couple of decades of experience in the field itself, right? On top of manufacturing the washing systems, right? That's amazing.
Yep.
Yeah. I come from a background. Well, I also have 20 plus years in the washing industry. So I've been doing this my whole life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. And here, I was one of the first guys that got hired on to build. My background is industrial mechanic. So I was, used to the mechanical side of things. And then the next guy we hired, well, he's a 30-year mechanic as well. And then the next guy we hired, well, he was also a mechanic. And we were all mechanics, but in slightly various fields. And it was almost like he was handpicking certain people to, what do you see here? What can we fix here? Do you see anything that we haven't already, kind of discussed and pinpointed, and what needs to be perfected? And there's been a lot of that. I mean, there's been a lot of head scratching and like, how do we build this thing? Or I guess our biggest thing with our equipment is you're using corrosives. You're using, in some cases, harsher chemicals. It's not if your equipment has an issue, it's when. There's some competitors out there that build some wonderful looking equipment. I mean, hands down, from, a mechanic's perspective, this stuff looks awesome. But when you start thinking about in the field, something happens, how easy is it to service? Like, how long are you going to be down before you're back up and working? And that's really our viewpoint of building equipment is, if something happens, how quick can you fix it? So we try to build our equipment to be easily accessible. The hoses are ran where you can tell exactly where they go. Electrical components are within easy reach. We don't try to like tuck wires behind things and make them disappear. Yeah, you
Yeah.
can make things look really good if you can't see wiring, but what happens if you have a wiring issue? So our whole build standpoint is really from an accessibility, mindset and getting you back up and going as fast as possible if you have that problem in the middle of a job.
Exactly. That was one of the things that attracted me to represent your company in Canada here, because from an accessibility or maintenance standpoint, if you're not mechanically inclined to deal with air diaphragm systems or have compressors go down or these big gas motors, you're going to be down on your job for a couple of days or a couple of weeks, right? And paying someone else to fix your systems. With your pumps, I believe you guys, you built them in-house, right? It's electric, it's 24 volt. And as all of the guys that have experimented with 12 volt, it is extremely low maintenance.
Right.
So
exactly.
With 24 volt, you get the same easy maintenance, except you get a lot more volume of water and a lot higher pressure to be able to do the much larger jobs that you could never do with the 12 volt.
Exactly. Yep. And that's kind of what attracted us to the 12 volts, or let's just say the electrical side of things, is all these gas systems that are out there, they're great. I mean, they serve a purpose, but if you're someone that doesn't understand a lot of the mechanical side of things and how to properly do the preventative maintenance and work on those things, well, they become a nightmare. And dealing with the vast majority of the population we deal with, we found that this electric is the solution, because it literally, you plug the plug in. It's a standard plug port. You plug it in, you turn it on, and it runs. When it starts to wear down due to use and just running corrosives through it, it'll start tripping a breaker. So that's kind of a good telltale sign. Like, I need to have another pump ready and on hand. And when the pump goes out, everything's plumbed with quick connects. So we can literally do a pump swap. And we do this in our demonstrations when people pick equipment up almost every day. I show you how fast you can actually do a pump swap in the field. And it's like, well, you're a mechanic, you build these things, exactly. No, it's literally, you pop 2 pins up, you pull 2 plugs out, you unplug it, you pull it off of the skid, put the new one on the skid, plug it up, and then plug the hoses back up, because they're all fitted with the same quick connect system. So they're all interchangeable. And we can literally have someone that's never touched a pump, touched a soft wash piece of equipment in their life. They can do a pump swap in 2 minutes. I mean, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to make this as user friendly and a no brainer as possible.
Yeah. So I literally cannot make this up. We got a news article posted today in my city here in London, and the news article said that there's a new law passed that after 6 p.m. or starting from 6 p.m., any type of residential work, whether it be washing a house or mowing a lawn, if you're a landscaper or you're a pressure washer, you cannot use a gas motor engine after 6 p.m. because of these new noise bylaws. So these the world is going electric. It's not just California. Other people are, these rules are starting to happen. And your system, like, let's just say you're on a job washing a big property and you're 1 or 2 hours away from washing. Do you stop at 6 p.m. and then the next day show up for another 2 hours to finish the job? With your pump, because it doesn't affect those noise bylaws,
right?
You can spend the extra hour till 6:30 or so and get the job done, and you're not breaking any noise bylaws. Like, it's amazing.
Exactly. Yep. And like you said, everything's going electric. So I've got a lot of guys from California that are calling in, and they're like, here I am. We've been washing for 3 years now, and this expensive unit we just bought, like, it's about to essentially be outlawed. Like, we're not going to be able to use it just because of, the different pollutions. Like, they have to go and have all the emission stuff that's tested
Right.
and all that. They're running into issues there. They're running issues like with the noise and for the nuisance of it is, and
Yeah.
it's kind of silly, but you know, I can't control that. You know, we can't control that here. It just happens that we found a solution that we thought fit the majority of the population, and that just seems to be the way that everything's going, and it just kind of fits like a hand in a glove. You know, it was by chance, but hey, we'll take it.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a point that I want to bring up in a lot of, contractors, whether they're pressure washers, they're window cleaners, if they're in the cleaning industry in general, quite often they understand the types of incomes that you can make. So you take a product from Southeast Soft Wash and it might cost X amount, but a lot of us in the industry already know that can be paid off in a couple of months. But for anybody looking to get into the industry that is not in the cleaning industry at all, and they're looking at the cost of a pump or the cost of a system, there's going to be a lot of people who just have no idea that the type of incomes you can make washing a house, washing a roof, whether it's a cedar roof, maybe it's a commercial building. Like, these systems are easily paid off in a short amount of time compared to going to college and paying a $40,000 loan off that takes 4 years.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. Well, just, it's funny you say that. Just today, one of the first guys that stopped by to pick up his equipment, he drove 6 hours away, and he has done commercial landscaping for, I think he said 21 years. And I told him, I said, so is this just something you're going to start offering just as another service? And he said, yeah. He said, I'm always running into guys that are asking like, hey, because he's built up this clientele that he's had them for he's been doing it for 21 years. So some of these guys he's been servicing for 21 years. Then you got a lot of guys that are maybe half that time. But so he's got this reputation with these families, and they're asking him like, hey, we know your work. Is there any way you can do this for me, or can you trim these trees down and stuff? So he said pressure washing and cleaning of that nature was a real heavy hitter for him. He was getting a lot of requests. So he said, I bought this, and he bought just the cheapest thing we have here that we offer. And he said, I just bought this just to try it. He said, because I'm having so much of this, repetitive questions asked. And he said, that the cost of getting into soft washing and this kind of service is so much less than what it is to do, commercial landscaping. He said, I'm not even in but about half of what it would cost me for one mower. And, and the profit margins are like this. And I told him, I said, I've seen it. I mean, I've been doing this for 4 years now here, and I've seen it a lot of times. Guys will add soft washing, pressure washing kind of services to their lawn care business, and they end up stop cutting grass and doing lawn care because you can get in and out, and the profit margins are so much larger with doing, these kind of services that the lawn care kind of falls by the wayside. So
that's right. That's right. So, for example, if someone were to start off with doing an online training or doing a face-to-face in-person training, that type of situation, if they were to go that direction, they would understand how to mix stuff, how to wash stuff, how to price stuff.
Right.
And as soon as they understand what the pricing is, and then all of a sudden, they're looking at the price of a particular skid, and it's a no-brainer, right?
Right. That's it. I mean, we've had 18-year-olds that are getting out of high school here. I've seen it happen twice where, a kid fresh out of school with zero life experience has watched a few, videos, taken that, the cheaper, quick kind of crash course on soft washing, what it is, kind of the highlights of what to watch for and what to really pinpoint and do. And we've had guys come in here and buy some of our, just beginner level systems and come back within 2 months and said, I should have never bought this thing. I should have bought the bigger thing because I've already paid for this and I'm running into jobs that I need bigger tank capacity. And from a business standpoint, and guys that were out doing this not too long ago, I mean, you can't get much more satisfaction than that, seeing these new guys that have, no contacts. They don't have a Rolodex full of, contacts with years worth of, jobs that they've done for them and all of this
Right.
portfolio. Like, these are brand spanking new guys in the world.
Yep.
You're able to succeed in this. And, that within itself is just gratification enough.
Yep, exactly. Once you do some training, that could be in the field training for a couple of days, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Over the next 3 or 4 months, 6, 7 months for the first season, you're getting in the field, you're doing some work, you're getting experience that way, and these incomes that you can make, people would just have a hard time believing it, right? But unless you get that training initially to start with,
right?
If you buy a system and you go out there and you learn from scratch on the job, it's going to take you a lot longer to reach that level of success.
Exactly.
When you're starting off experimenting on somebody's house. But when you get the proper training and how to price stuff, how to do it. So right from the start, how to price it, how to do it, how to mix it, how to use the machine. There's been jobs, even as of a couple of weeks ago, which we constantly have a couple every month. You can wash a building in 3 or 4 days and make 20,000, 30,000, 40,000. Like, this is what we do.
Yeah.
Right. With my own company that I'm still running, this is what we do. You can wash a house for $1,000 in a couple of hours, or you can wash a building for 20,000 in a couple of days. Like, you can't do. There's almost not any other type of service or industry where you can get into and make that type of profit in that amount of time.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, personally, I've gone out with one of our other guys here, and we took the smallest skid that we offer, the mini skid, and we made $7,000 in. We got started around 8:30, and we finished up around 3. It was February, so here, it was cold, but we weren't in no hurry. We were trying to stay dry. We didn't want to get wet, so
Right.
we were kind of being lazy about what we were doing, just try not to get too close to the walls. And we even stopped and went to a restaurant down the road and ate. And this was like a very, very, very laid back leisure day, and turned around and made $7,000. I mean, in no time. It don't start off like that sometimes, because that's where knowing your worth is a big thing. So, like you said, with the training, if you don't have a lot of knowledge in the industry you're getting into, and you don't have the confidence to be able to sell yourself because that what you're doing, that's a really big key. So, to what you're saying, the training, you can go out and wing it. It's not rocket science. You can figure it out, but it's going to take you 5 years to figure out what a 2-day training course or a 1-day training course, what have you, could teach you. I mean, the learning curve could be cut down for you so much. And a lot of people don't realize how much time they can save.
Mm-hmm.
Our training class we do, we send guys in here, we'll do a 1-day class, and they'll come out and they're just like, holy smokes, I've been washing for 2 years and I've just learned so much stuff. And that's kind of a testament to what a good training class can get you. I mean, the time that it takes you to go in and do a job and get out, that's money. But the extra time that you're spending, you're not even aware of, that's also money that you're missing out on. So good training is definitely a must, especially if you want to be serious, because you get to be serious now, not learning seriousness. Then, all right,
not here 4 or 5 years from now, where you want to, charge a certain price and make a certain income, but you don't want to wait the 3 to 5 years to make that income. You want to do it in the first year or the beginning of the second year.
Yeah, exactly. And here's a big one too. A lot of people don't think of at first. What about the potential mistakes that you may make that may cost you, a good bit of money? We just had a guy in here the other day. He was, asking us about our gutter services that we offer as upsell. So, hey, I'm here to clean your roof, and I'm going to clean your house. But hey, let me get the gutters while I'm here. You know, I can do them for this price since I'm here doing it. But if I have to come back, it's going to be more. And he said, you know, I felt good. I pitched it. You know, I upsold the gutters. And he said, when I got to cleaning the gutters, he said, I didn't have a good experience. And I said, let me guess. You cleaned them, you applied the Kim, and the paint started coming off when you started spraying it off. Yeah. He said, yeah. I said, well, you know, we would have taught you that right here in this class. How much money did you have to spend repainting that gutter? And it was half of what the class cost. Now, thankfully, he only did just a downspout, but he still had to get a painter out there to paint it. And just that one mistake could have been easily avoided had he taken a class and been aware of that. So.
Yeah, exactly. So you guys have, the systems you guys have are unmatched. I've done my research. You know, I specifically chose Southeast to represent for Canada because your systems, your quality of your build, your pumps are unmatched. Nobody designs pumps like you guys have. You know, the only similar type numbers of volume and pressure from your pump. Now you're talking something that's not electric, right? But you have the easy maintenance of electric. You don't have any noise issue bylaws with electric. You know, your soap lineup, whether you want to do oxidation, you know, you want soaps with different scents, you need degreasers, you need to wash different materials. Like you guys have the whole lineup of soaps, right? So you guys are the whole package. So we are very excited to partner with you and represent Southeast to our Canadian customers.
Hey, we appreciate it. This is a big step for us, and you know, it's something we're very, very excited about. I mean, we couldn't be dealing with you, talking to you on the phone and emailing back and forth. It's like we've talked to a lot of people, but when you talk to the one person that's like their head's in the right place, the order of operations is right, and the background you have, I mean, that it just everything comes together. So, I mean, we're just as excited as you are, and we appreciate this.
Excellent. We look forward to it. So back over to Viviani.
All right. Can you guys hear me now?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you, Viviani.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And thank you, Adam and Ty, for this excellent session. We do have a question here. It's from Nick. So he's asking how he can actually get more commercial type of jobs. It seems he's doing good for residential, but he wants to know what is the best way to advertise and getting those jobs.
Yeah.
So thank you for the question, Nick. I'll go ahead and start answering this first question here. So I myself went through the same transition early in my career. So depending on where you live in the country, your local area might call it something different. In British Columbia and Ontario, what we call it is property management companies, or HOA. So the best way to get into commercial is to physically approach a property management company. Usually they have a commercial address, and in the actual building itself, there'll be an office of maybe 5 or 10 or 15 or 20 property managers, which oversee commercial, type buildings. It could be, multi-unit type complexes, all types of commercial type settings. So walk in there. Of course, you want to look the part. So you have your business shirt, you have your folders, your flyers, your business cards. Something that really helped us is having a PowerPoint presentation on a tablet, and just walking in there, introducing yourself. Go to Costco's, buy a basket of some muffins or some desserts. Walk in there, introduce yourself. Just give them a little free basket of something. Ask the receptionist to leave your cards, your flyers, and that's how we started getting commercial work that way. Out of an office of maybe 5 or 10 or 20 people, maybe you have one that reaches out to you, right? And then it just becomes like any other type of client. You service one, you do a good job, you get referrals. But now your referrals are not house washing prices, they are much larger income commercial washing prices. So that is one way, of course, that works for us. Another way is social media. Social media is good for getting any type of work, but maybe even just if you don't have any pictures or videos on your social media of you washing a commercial building, just go do a free demo for a building. Of course, not a 20,000 square foot building. Go pick a little building that might take you a couple of hours. Let them know you'll do it for free, so you can take pictures and videos and post on your social media. So other commercial properties or property managers can see online somewhere that you do commercial.
Yep. Definitely. Piggyback off of what you said, portfolio is what we have seen to be the best response as far as commercial goes. So being able to have that, the video content or the before and after photos of different things. So anytime you're in the process of washing something, no matter how big or how small it is, even if it's just like, a 10 by 10 section of concrete, draw a line right in the middle of that, clean one side and get a photo.
Yeah.
Just try to document everything you can, because we've had a guy that's got one of our pieces of equipment. He was reached out to by Facebook. So our Meta actually reached out to him and said, "Hey, we need you to come give us a quote." And he's like, "How in the world did they get my number?" And he's like, he didn't put no bids in. He didn't go to them. They contacted him. And when he got there, he was kind of questioning them, like, "How did y'all find me?" And they said, "Well, your Google reviews." So when they looked, they looked at his reviews. They looked at how many reviews he had and what was his average. And this dude's average was like, of course, 4.5 or higher. But he had a certain number of reviews, and that attracted this big time client. And so he got into talking, how they wanted it done. And they're like, "No, look, you just tell me what it's going to cost us to do this." And it's like, no one has ever heard of that happening before. But it was strictly off of his reviews and his photos, his portfolio. And it's right there for the public to see. So always, pester these guys if you have to. Anytime you do a job, hey, if you don't mind, please leave me a Google review, because that is what we're seeing really drives the market, especially in this, commercial side of things. Maybe it's not that big. Maybe it's some gas stations, a chain of gas stations or something of that nature, restaurants. Man, word of mouth is huge. I mean, if you can do a good job on one and that manager reaches out and says, "Hey, this guy did a good job. Y'all might need to see about getting him to come to yours." Just keep doing good work, and build that portfolio.
Yeah, that's right. So Nick, you had a second question here aside from your first question. So your second question was best way you found to advertise your business. So in today's world, about 15, 20 years ago, paying Google ads, going door to door, leaving flyers on people's doors, was one way that we started. Once you start making some money, you would pay Google ads, like traditionally, right?
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward, 10 or 20 years later, the past couple of years, Nick, I found for myself is social media has really taken off, right? So people in I think most markets are really transitioning into what they're seeing in social media. Yeah, you can have a website on Google, which it's good to have a website so people can see you have one, but it's not necessarily the only tool anymore that people are looking for when they're looking for services. So with Instagram, with Facebook, there are features now that you can advertise through social media, and it's a lot cheaper. For example, this past 2 months, 3 months, our season has started, right? We did a little bit of advertising on Instagram, our Instagram page. One client called us. She was a property manager. That turned into doing 2 quotes. The 2 quotes totaled about $55,000. That's about 2 weeks of work. We have a different client that reached out to us through social media, and it was the same size. So, maybe today there will be times where you're hitting and missing on paying Google ads. Sometimes you see that return on investment, sometimes you don't. The market's just changing. So I think the best way to advertise as far as cost versus ROI is social media.
Definitely. I can agree with that. Like you said, sometimes, depending, especially with y'all, with the season kind of being a lot shorter in some areas, down here in the South where we're at, we can almost go year round. There may be about 2 months where it slacks up pretty good. And yeah, definitely we turn those Google ads off. There's no sense in it. Right. We do keep them running during the busy season because it does attract folks. And we, once you get, your name out there and people recognize you and you start getting to the top of that Google list. So when people search your name or they search house cleaning or roof cleanings near me, and whenever you can start getting the reviews and building, like I was saying earlier, the portfolio, and you start coming up at the top of that search list, that's going to do a lot for you there. But the social media, man, is get the content out there. I mean, it's not something that we're going to go out and do when we wash a house. So like if you're doing a driveway cleaning or a walkway, we're not going to clean one with a turbo nozzle and go back and forth and clean it with, 6-inch strip at a time. But man, if you've got a day to kill and you can post a video of that and kind of, time lapse it or speed it up a little bit, that catches eyeballs. Yeah. People love to see that kind of stuff. Now, are we ever going to go out and clean a house for real? No, we're going to throw a big 20-inch surface cleaner on there and zip it on out. Right. But for some reason, those little things like that, the little shorts and things that grabs people's attention. One big thing that a lot of people utilize that grabs a lot of eyeballs is our Southern slang. So our Southern slang is our surfactant that is a red tint. It smells like cherry. But on camera, you can manipulate it to do a short ad and spray that stuff on the house and, mix it pretty strong. And it really shows that red color being sprayed. And people associate those colors and things like that with just cleanliness. Like it's a soap, it's clean, and they get to see that visual effect. And we see a lot of people get a lot of really good response with advertising, showing those short clips of just those bright colors. I mean, you can even go in your camera roll and adjust the hue to really pronunciate that color coming out. Little subtle tricks like that can grab attention. Yeah. It'll be something else that could really benefit you.
Yeah. So through the years, Ty, and everyone who's watching, I have talked to a lot of people that reached out to me, for training, for building systems. And as far as the training aspect goes, 9 out of 10 people are asking me, like, Adam, what soaps do I use? I've tried this, I've tried that, I've tried the local store stuff, I've tried this other name brand stuff. Like, what works for what I'm doing? What's your suggestions, right? So the thing that is amazing about you guys in Southeast is you have a soap created and designed to wash every surface, and it's tried and tested and proven, right? So you have a whole lineup of soaps that now our Canadian market has access to, right? Mm-hmm. So that by itself is amazing. And the second question is, a lot of people reach out to me, have reached out to me for training, but it's more of a curiosity as far as, well, I want to do something to make money, but what type of incomes is it? What type of prices is it? So people just don't really know where to go for soaps and what pricing is. But this is something that we cover in our training that we now offer to the Canadian market.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, I mean, exactly. A lot of it is just making your mind up, doing a little bit of research, and convincing yourself to take that first step. I mean, with the proper training and what you've got going on there, the experience that you have alone is going to help catapult these guys that are interested in starting a new business far beyond what they really realize. As long as they've got a little bit of, want to, is what we call it. As long as you want to go out and do this, and you're not just going to just think that it's going to come to you, you're going to have to work it. You have to get your name out there. And the first couple of years, I mean, you're going to have to grind a little bit. But once you get the first couple of years and you get that reputation, you get that portfolio built up, it almost gets to be to where now the jobs just kind of start trickling more to you. You're still going to have to go out and put in some work and do the marketing. You can't stop doing that. But it gets easy, and it gets to the point where it's like, oh man, I got 5 more jobs I got to go do. It's just one of those things, you got to start. And with, like I said, your background and what you've got, they're going to have the help that they need.
Yep. So we have a question just posted here by Steve Page.
Yeah, just we are actually on top of the hour, so if we can answer the last question here,
sure,
that'd be great.
Hello, Steve. How's it going? I don't know what part of the country you're in, but your question is how best to enter soft washing. So I don't know what your background is. I'm just going to answer this assuming you're not in the cleaning industry at all. So the best thing to do is have a social media page. You have to know what your budget is. How much money do you have to spend? That'll tell you what type of system you can start with. Will you be starting washing by yourself? Do you have a partner with you or an assistant that there'll be 2 of you on the job to start? So, if you're by yourself, what is your budget like? And all these things we go over and teach you during training. So we teach you how to wash, how to mix the chemicals, how to mix the soaps, how to clean each surface, if it's a house, if it's a roof, if it's a building. So all these things that we teach you during training. So you'll know how to do the job, you'll know what to charge, and then you just have to figure out what your budget is and then pick the system that you want.
Yeah, there's really no wrong way to get started. You just have to do it. No matter how little it is. There are guys that'll go out and they'll bite off a little bit more than they can chew, and that's not advised. You have to evaluate yourself, evaluate your market, but just get started. I mean, we've got guys that are buying little like kits from us, and they're able to kind of cobble together a few extra parts that's it helps them with finances because they're not just throwing out money for a turnkey system. And they're able to do a few jobs, and then within a few months, they're turning around and they're like, "Hey, like this is actually viable." Like the guy today. I mean, he bought our cheapest system just to see. So, check out some YouTube videos. Get with Adam. I mean, just see what can become of it. Because I think once you see the potential, the question becomes, man, how could I not do this?
Yeah, exactly. So I believe as of a couple of hours ago, our site is live. So Canada now has a Prima Soft Wash Systems website to order all the skids that they want. Feel free to email us with any questions regarding skids or training or how to get into the industry. Anything that you guys need, feel free to email Prima Soft Wash Systems. And we're excited to see everyone in our Canadian market grow. Thank you for your time, Ty.
Sorry, what was that?
Thank you, guys.
So thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Adam and Ty, for your time, and everybody that connected with us today. Like Adam said, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. You have in your screen right now our email and our website. Okay. With that, thank you and enjoy the rest of your day.
Take care, guys.
See y'all.